After Rotherham against Ipswich was postponed on Friday night, I was slightly concerned that the weather might play a part in a lot of other fixtures, with more postponements coming ahead. However, the weather brightened up, all the games were played, so there were 11 in total, and we got two scores correct. Leicester beating Swansea 3-1, and Watford getting an all-important win against winless and new manager team Sheffield Wednesday. It was a 1-0, very important for Watford, but Sheffield Wednesday, will they be able to start picking up some more points now? Only time will tell with that one. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let's get into the midweek predictions. We start off with Huddersfield against Cardiff. Now Huddersfield have actually only lost one of their last 8 fixtures, winning 3 and drawing 4. They have been okay under Darren Moore. 1 loss, 1 win and 3 draws, so not losing too many games. They're sticking in every game, but maybe just struggling to get those decisive goals. Cardiff, they've lost 2 of their last 3, drawing the other. I think this will be quite tightly contested, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Millwall face Blackburn now. Millwall, 2 draws in a row, and after that Gary Rowett sacking, they still haven't appointed a permanent manager. Blackburn, they've won 2 in a row. They've kept clean sheets in both of them, which only means one thing. I'm going to go for a Millwall win at home. Probably be a draw. It'll be tight. I can kind of see it going either way, but I am going to back Millwall to win it 2-1. Norwich against Middlesbrough should be a tasty tie. Now Norwich, they haven't won in their last 3. They lost the last one 3-2 against Leeds after taking a 2-0 lead. Leeds with a brilliant comeback. And Norwich, they were in good form at the start of the season. They have seemed to hit a bit of a roadblock, and they'll be hoping to get back to better form here, but it's going to be a tough ask because they're playing a Middlesbrough side that have won 5 league games in a row, kept 3 clean sheets in a row, and in the game against Blues, I can't really tell how good Middlesbrough were based on the fact that Blues were unrecognisable. First of all, Rooney made some poor changes for me to the starting lineup, and secondly, he tried to play a completely different way that the players weren't used to, so it's difficult to get a judge on Middlesbrough based off of that game. However, John Ruddy got in the team of the week for losing 1-0 ahead of 23 other goalkeepers because he made some brilliant saves and he really stopped it from being 5-6-0. So very well done from Ruddy in that game, but Middlesbrough get the points they need, and I don't see many people stopping them at the moment. They're in a brilliant run of form, so Middlesbrough to win 2-1. Swansea face Watford next. Now, Swansea were in very good form, 4 wins in a row, before eventually falling to defeat 3-1 against Leicester. Watford, they have won 1-0 against Sheffield Wednesday, and that's only their second win in the last 12 games. So they have been finding it very difficult to win games, but they've got the job done here. Got all 3 points. It was against a struggling side, but they'll be hoping to push on. However, I am going to go for the home side because they are in good form to win it 2-0. Leicester against Sunderland should be a very big clash. Leicester, 7 wins in a row. They've won 11 out of their 12, losing the other, making them the most successful championship side after 12 games. A brilliant start for Maresca and his team, and I'm fully expecting business to continue because they are a very, very good side for this sort of standard of football, this division. Sunderland, they were on a good run, winning 6 out of 8, but since then, it's slowed down. They lost their game before the international break, 4-0 against Middlesbrough, and then they've came back and they've lost against the Stoke side, which I really wasn't expecting, 2-1. I thought Sunderland would go back to winning ways, but a loss against Stoke, didn't see it coming, and I think that a game like this to follow it up isn't a great one for them, so Leicester to win it 3-1. West Brom against QPR now, and West Brom, 4 draws in their last 7 fixtures. They drew 0-0 with Plymouth last time out. They're quite hard to beat, but don't get too many wins either. So difficult team to call, quite down the middle and on the fence in every game they play. QPR lost 4 in a row. They are not in great form at all. Really struggling to put anything together. So I've got a feeling that West Brom are going to pick this one up with a narrow 1-0 victory. Blues against Hull. Now, it's Rooney against Liam Rosenior, who's assistant at Derby. Last week, it was Rooney against Carrick. It's been an interesting start under Rooney because he tried to put everything into place in his first game against Middlesbrough. Some questionable changes to the starting lineup, a bit of a formation tweak, and it really didn't work. The players didn't look comfortable. Middlesbrough were better at everything in that game. The only thing they weren't better at was making saves, because John Ruddy made about 10, and I don't really recall their keeper making any, maybe 1 or 2, but it was a difficult watch really, because he had tried to put all his tactics into place in one go, didn't really come off. But again, we were playing a tough Middlesbrough side. We had lost 3 away games before that, so it was always going to be tough because we're not great on the road. And that's the 4th away loss in a row, making it 4 losses out of 6 away from home this season. However, we are unbeaten at home still, so this is where we should be picking up the points, because we do perform better at St Andrews. But I would be slightly concerned if Rooney was to lose his first home game of the season and, kind of end that run that used to started us on. Hull, they were on an unbeaten run of 8. However, they have now lost 2 of their last 3 games, so they are starting to change their form a little bit. However, those 2 losses were against Southampton and Ipswich, so maybe it's not too much to read into. I am going to stick with us carrying on that unbeaten run because I really want it to happen. I hope that Rooney can get it working, but we did look very nervy on the ball at times and we didn't create much at all. We're normally very high on XG, just not great at taking chances. That game we just didn't create anything, so you can't take chances if you don't make chances. I'm going to go for, on the fence, I'm going to sit on a 1-1. Bristol City face Ipswich. Now, Ipswich are unbeaten in 7, winning 6 of those games, but they didn't manage to play on the weekend as the game against Rotherham was postponed due to weather and safety issues for supporters. It was unfortunate that they couldn't play because they could have went top momentarily of the table, but they've missed that opportunity and Leicester are now 5 points ahead of them. Ipswich have been brilliant at the start of this season, but there is a potential to slip up here as Bristol City, they can be inconsistent, but they've only lost 2 of their home games this season. They do seem to be picking up a bit of form at the moment. They've lost a couple of games, but ones that were quite difficult. Although they did also lose to Stoke, which I didn't see coming because Stoke haven't looked great at all this season. So Bristol City, I guess, inconsistent. However, I do think it's a potential slip up, but I can't not back the Tractor Boys. So I'm going to go for Ipswich to win 2-1. Plymouth take on Sheffield Wednesday, and the away side will be hoping that they can pick up their first win here because they are still winless after 12 games. It's the worst start to a championship season since it's been the championship, so not a great record for the Owls to have. Plymouth not been in great form at the moment. They've only won 1 of their last 7, haven't won in 4. They're not really finding those decisive goals that they need. They're not scoring too many at all, to be fair. So it's not too bad of a fixture for Sheffield Wednesday to have. However, you'd have said that at the weekend when they faced Watford and they lost that game. So Sheffield Wednesday, can I see them winning this? No. I think it might take a while for Danny Roll to implement his way of thinking and his way of football. But you never know, they might start to pick up some points sometime soon and they might eventually get that first win. I am going to go down the middle. I think they can get a point out of this because Plymouth aren't in great form at the moment, so 1-1. Preston face Southampton, and these two sides occupy 4th and 5th. Preston, they'd won 6 in a row, but haven't won in their last 5, losing 3 of them. Southampton, in their first 4 games, it was 3 wins and a draw. Their next 4 were 4 straight losses. And then the last 4 they've played have been 3 wins and a draw. Does that mean they're going to lose this one? I don't think so. I think the Saints have got over their tricky patch. They're starting to defend a bit better, which was their problem. And I think they are going to put a bit more misery on Preston, push them a bit further down the table. Southampton to win 2-1. Rotherham face Coventry. We didn't get to see Rotherham on the weekend due to the postponement. And they're quite strange, to be honest. They are sitting in the relegation zone, but they have had some decent results. They beat Norwich, they drew with Preston. Their last fixture was a draw against Southampton. The problem is, within those 3 fixtures, they've lost 4. So they tend to do better in the tougher looking games at the moment and kind of keep it tight, but in the easier games, not that anything will be easy for Rotherham or is easy in the Championship, but the ones that look a little bit better on paper, they just seem to lose. And that's why I've got a feeling that Coventry will get the better of them. Even though they're not in the greatest of form themselves, they do draw a lot of games. I'm going to back Coventry to win it 1-0. Stoke face Leeds in our final game. Stoke won their last fixture 2-1 against Sunderland. Didn't see it coming, but it must have been sweet for Alex Neil in that one. And they've had a pretty poor start to the season, in fairness. They've picked up 4 wins so far, but a lot of losses this season. So not a great start from Stoke, but they'll be hoping that that fixture turns it around a little bit. They are against Leeds, however, who have been on this sort of resurgence for the last couple of months. They're now into 3rd place, 6 points behind Ipswich, albeit Ipswich do have that game in hand against Rotherham. But Leeds really are flying. Very good defensively, even though they've conceded in their last 2. They've won 3 in a row. Their last game was a 3-2 win over Norwich, in a game where Norwich took a 2-0 lead, but Leeds pegged them back and made that comeback complete. I'm going to go for Leeds here to be emphatic. The biggest win of the weekend, 3-0. So, those are my predictions for these midweek fixtures. Make sure to get your predictions down in the comments, like the video, subscribe, and up the Blues.